Well, recently I spent an afternoon with LAPD Chief Charlie Beck. We talked about a lot of things. Some of our conversation aired earlier this week, only on CBS2. But tonight, we get candid and very personal, from his family to his legacy and even retirement. Chief Beck answered all our questions, including whether the hit CBS drama Blue Bloods was based on his real life. A Los Angeles landmark, Langer's Deli in MacArthur Park, home of the legendary number 19 pastrami sandwich. But on this September afternoon, a palpable buzz as both customers and CBS2 crews await a Langer's regular.
How are you?
This is LAPD Chief Charlie Beck. Candid, off the cuff, and clearly relaxed.
You watch the show?
Of course I watch the show.
Now, did they consult you?
No.
Chief Beck and many others believe his real life was the basis for the hit CBS drama Blue Bloods.
A lot of people say you look like Tom Selleck. Or maybe Tom Selleck looks like you.
Well, he's older than me, so I look like him.
Okay.
But it's not just the physical similarities that perhaps led Hollywood producers to look at Charlie Beck.
I think the series came out soon after I became chief, and there's a picture that was run in People magazine of my son and daughter and myself walking in uniform on the Academy field, and I think that's what the writers and the producers saw.
Call it art imitating life.
We have a very close family, kind of like the Reagans.
Beck's wife, Cindy, a retired LA County Sheriff's deputy. His sister, Megan, a retired LAPD detective. His daughter, Brandy, and son, Martin, LAPD officers. His youngest daughter, Megan, an LA County Sheriff's deputy. And the patriarch of the police dynasty, his father, George, who retired from the force in 1980 at the rank of deputy chief.
I want to share some pictures. I think this kind of gives us an idea of how you feel about your dad.
I can tell by the little pin on my shirt. I was working gangs in South Los Angeles, and my dad, I think, at this point was the chief in West Bureau. I have nothing but respect and affection for my dad, and the picture reflects it.
His mother, Elma Beck, the matriarch of this law enforcement family, who was married to his father 61 years before her death in 2010.
I, Charles Beck, do solemnly swear.
Just 1 year after he was sworn in as LA's 56th police chief.
My mother and father had a huge influence on my kids.
This is Marty, right?
No, that's actually me.
I know that's
It looks
you.
like Marty.
It looks just like your son.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Spitting image.
Yeah.
It's almost uncanny.
Yeah.
Martin is Chief Beck's 30-year-old son, an officer with 7 years on the force.
You were chief when he graduated from the academy.
I was.
Now, what was that like?
Officer Martin Beck.
Oh, it was huge. It was huge. It was a very emotional. Seeing him graduate, it was just a very proud moment.
Aww.
And I felt the same way about both my daughters when they graduated.
Beck says his children work hard and try to keep a low profile, but he admits that's not always easy.
There's also a lot of pressure on them because they're legacy kids. They all feel the burden of everybody watching them.
All eyes were watching the Beck family in 2014 after the chief signed off on a $6,000 purchase of a horse that was to be used by LAPD's mounted patrol. The problem, though, the horse was owned by his oldest daughter, Brandy.
It's not any of her fault. If there's any fault, it's on me, But I don't feel guilty about it. The department got a great horse.
A father who was fiercely protective of his family and also loyal to those he calls friends.
Chief has been a good friend of mine for many, many years.
The owner of Langer's Deli, Norm Langer, says his friendship with the chief began years ago when Beck was appointed captain of Rampart Division.
He puts something out there that he is this solid individual. He's not. He's an emotional person, just like everybody.
I'm a mess.
He's a grandfather.
I'm a grandfather.
Well, I'm a grandfather too, but I don't look as good as you do.
At this point in his career, the chief knows he now has more days behind him than ahead. And he hopes when he retires in November 2019 that his children will carry on the family legacy.
I want it to be a police department that they are proud to be part of and that this city's proud of.
Well, do Charlie Beck's children want to be chief someday? I asked him that, and he said at this point, he can't even get them to take a test to make sergeant. I also spoke to Chief Beck about serious issues facing the department, and we posted our in-depth interview on CBSLA.com.